Right then, welcome back to the Snatch Chat podcast. I think this is going to be a really interesting conversation. We're going to have a conversation with Tom that I'll introduce in a second, who is a nutritionist, but I do not want this to be a podcast where we're going to talk about nutrition for an elite level athlete that is just waking up, eating, training, eating, having a nap, back a bit of training, eating again. This is for the everyday lifter, like the people that I coach day in, day out, the people that are probably listening to this that want to learn the Olympic lifts or want to just get better at the Olympic lifting movements, but have got shit to do within the day. And Tom, I probably assume that you've got clients that are just everyday lifters.
Yeah, it's pretty evenly balanced at the minute.
Yeah. So, Tom, welcome to the Snatch Chat podcast. Would you like to tell everyone who the hell you are and what you do?
So I'm Tom, I'm the head coach at Silverback Performance Coaching. I'm a nutritionist primarily, as well as doing strength and conditioning and sport-specific stuff. I was just saying to Connor, I've been doing this now for the better part of 2 decades across multiple sports, multiple levels, from people who've never been in a gym before all the way up to people who've gone off to the Olympic Games. Yeah, it's pretty much what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, but I suppose even when you've got someone that is like super basic, just wants to get in and touch a barbell for the first time, and then you've got an elite level athlete, there are crossovers with nutrition, I take it, would you say?
Yeah, the base principles are the same. The base principle is exactly the same. It's just like the minutiae detail, like that really like nitpicky, gritty detail, but like they all follow the same. Have you ever heard of the nutrition pyramid?
We're talking about
Not the food pyramid.
Okay.
So the nutrition pyramid. So everything nutrition pretty much falls within this. So the base layer, the foundation of the pyramid is consistency and adherence. So it's whatever plan's being written, regardless if it's for someone who's never been in a gym before or who's going to a European World Championships, is being consistent with the program and sticking to it. Then it's calorie balance, macros, micros, and then the one people often focus on more is supplements. So supplements is the pinnacle. Like the name suggests, it's there to supplement your diet. But like regardless of the level, that principle still remains the same.
Yeah. It's actually quite funny you say that, because I had a conversation. So I've just taken on a new client who is learning the Olympic lifts. Mm-hmm. And before we've even looked at like training or their nutrition, their first question is, so protein shakes, which one's the best? And I'm like, whoa, we are nowhere near this level. Well, I wouldn't even know about that. Well, I didn't know necessarily there's a nutrition pyramid, but like we're right at the top of the pyramid, but we're not looking at the other things. So I was like, let's just scale it back. Let's just get into the gym first, get you used to training, because that's a stimulus, that's a stressor placed on the body, and then we can have a look at all the other sort of factors.
Yeah. I get all the time, what's the best protein shake, or what's the best supplement for this? I'm like, what's your sleep like, what's your stress like, what's your recovery like, what's your overall food intake like? And it's like, I'm tracking. Okay, are you consistent with the tracking? Are you tracking like what you're eating? Is the food intake consistent? Are you consistent around macros? Or have we got days where there's like you've got like a 5,000 calorie day, then to try and balance it, you then got 1,000 calorie day, versus it just being like nice and consistent across the board. Yeah.
So with that being said then, would you say there are, or if for example, an everyday lifter, someone that has a family, they're doing the school run, someone that's working long hours, do they need to rethink their nutrition when juggling those things compared to like an elite level athlete? And how does that sort of look, would you say?
I think and this is based on like what I've seen with people who are in that environment, a lot of people skip breakfast. Because, like you say, they've got to get up, they've got to get the kids up, they've got to get everyone ready for school, they've got to get all the breakfast done. They're doing 600 different things for other people, and then like their thing is like, I've got to get the kids up, get them dressed, get them ready for school, get them out the door. So in all of that, then there's no thought process or there's no capacity sometimes to go, okay, what am I having for lunch? What am I having for breakfast? What's my breakfast look like? For something like that, it's quite important. I won't go into like the nitty gritty detail because it's hormones and all that other stuff. But even something like having an overnight oat bowl ready to go in the morning. So, okay, the kids are having breakfast, the parents can sit down and have something to kickstart their day food-wise. It doesn't have to be 5-star eggs Benedict made with fresh hollandaise. It could just be some oats, some honey, either Greek yogurt or milk, whatever the preference is, some berries, some nut butter, something like that, and you've actually got like a really nutrient-dense, really simple meal that can either be made the night before, or you can make a few of them like in batch one day, so you save yourself time later in the week.
Yeah. Okay, so if an elite level athlete or someone that is competing and they are a full-time athlete, their nutrition is going to be sort of like gold standard. They're going to be making sure everything is pinpoint perfect. They're getting all the macros in, they're looking at the finer details to the micronutrients. For everybody else, I suppose we're just looking to make sure that they've got like good enough nutrition. And how do you think that looks for someone then? Or what are the key things that person should look at?
Variety is one of them. So not having, because if you narrow down what you're eating, so if you go sit there and go, I'm going to eat the exact same thing every single day. One, you get palate fatigue, so you get bored of eating it. Two, the bigger one is your nutrient profile then condenses down. So you then can end up with nutrient deficiencies in extreme circumstances. And also if you're like the everyday lifter and you're sitting down at dinner and having chicken and rice while the kids are having like tacos or fajitas or a chili or a spag bowl, there's ways of making those meals fit within what you're doing. Variety, lots of variety, colour. Some people go, I'm have the old one, chicken, rice and broccoli.
Yeah.
Peppers, throw in some peppers. You can turn peppers into like multiple different things. So when you go into the supermarket, go, okay, I've got something that's blue, something that's purple, something that's red, something that's yellow, something that's orange, and something that's white.
Yeah.
Within that, I think one thing we say is we do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So 5 veg, 4 fruit, 3 carbohydrate sources, 2 protein sources, and then something fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a really easy one because you can just go, right, get another fruit and veg out. Right, we're going to get strawberries, raspberries, bananas, apples, pears. Done. We're going to get spinach, which is green. We're going to get aubergine, which is purple. We're going to get yellow peppers. We're going to get red peppers. And then we're going to get turnips. And you've got a variety of different nutrients there as well. You've got your three carbohydrate sources. So that could be oats, that could be rice, that could be pasta. Done. 2 protein sources, chicken and beef, turkey and salmon, tofu and tempeh for vegetarian and vegans. And something fun could be a bar of 70% dark chocolate. You're going to have some of that every night.
Yeah. So I suppose variety, as you said, is the one. But what you've just basically touched on there is simplicity as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like stop overcomplicating it and coming up with crazy ass meals.
Yeah.
That sort of
you
take
don't
time.
You don't need like a TikTok recipe which requires you to go to 17 different shops and buy 42 different ingredients to make a 500 calorie protein brownie. If you look at the programs I write for, like, if you look at the program I write for an everyday lifter versus an elite lifter, they're still really simple. There is a protein source, there is a carbohydrate source, there is a fat source, there is fruit and vegetables in each meal. And that's how I build them. Like one of my other coaches noticed, she's like, you always program it, the protein source, the carb source, the fat source, everything else. I'm like, yeah, because then I'm going, okay, how much protein am I getting here? Carbs, fats, everything else. And you can do it the same when you're at home. Like a rough portion guide is you want a portion of protein should be roughly the size of the palm of your hand. A rough fat portion should be roughly the size of the end of your thumb. And this is like really broad. Carbohydrates should be roughly about the size of your fist. And then fruit and veg should be like a cupped handful.
Yeah.
Now, it's a really easy one. You don't have to weigh everything out. There's no need to track everything. You can go, okay, do that. Oh, I've done that for 10 days. Weight stayed the same. Okay, you're probably about maintenance. Weight's gone down, you're probably in a slight deficit. Weight's gone up a little bit, you're probably in a slight surplus.
Yeah. Now, do all your everyday athletes track their food? Do you think that's the only thing? Is that something that needs to be done, would you say?
Does it need to be done? Not necessarily. Is it beneficial? Sometimes, yes. Obviously, every tracking app works differently. They do different things. If you've got meals that you're having on a regular basis, once you know what the macros are for them, you don't need to track it every single time. You can either just save it as a meal in there, or you can just go, okay, that meal's this many calories. I'm just not going to worry about that. Or this is the macros. I think some tracking apps are better than others. One that we use with our clients that tracks all the vitamins and minerals. So from an everyday perspective, someone can look into that and see what they're deficient in, and on their side of it, they can actually click on it. It'll tell them what foods they need to add into their diet. Yeah. But at the same time, if you're eating pretty much the same every day, food wise, and your weight isn't changing, you're at maintenance. If your weight's going up, you're in a surplus. If your weight's going down, you're in a deficit. Obviously, there's some considerations, especially around female clients, around their cycle with weight changing. But as a broad approach, you're looking at that. Yeah.
And I think when it comes to sort of like tracking, 'cause you can definitely get away without tracking. But again, you're pissing in the wind, aren't you? You're sort of hoping that you've made it the exact same as you did a couple of weeks ago if you were making sort of enchiladas one night. So there is going to be slight fluctuations. But then there's other athletes that I've coached where their breakfast and their lunch, I am this person, is basically the same. Like, my breakfast is going to be a bowl of oats. Up until about end of May, the weather gets really warm. I'm then going to like yogurt and granola. Like, I literally have 2 breakfasts for like each half of the year. I know what my calories are going to be for that. My lunch is always what I had the evening before. So I always make that into like 4 portions. So me and my wife had that for an evening meal, and then that will be our lunch the day after. So really, the only meal that I need to track is my evening meal. Just because everything else is going to be roughly the same, isn't it?
Yeah, we do it with some of the people I work with. Like, they'll have breakfast and lunch will be the same every day. It's simple, saves them time. They can bulk prep it if they want to. And the evening meal is one that they can then have with the family. So I've got one client we do exactly this with. Their breakfast and lunch, everything they have before the family meal is exactly the same every day. Yeah. So they can just prep it. Obviously got training day, rest day, but they can just prep it all. But then when they have the family meal in the evening, they went, okay, what we normally have is something based on this, something based with red meat, something based with white meat, something based with fish. So we basically do 2 white meat meals, 2 red meat meals, 2 fish meals, and then the final meal is normally like whatever it comes on a Sunday. So it's like, okay, well, I now know you're having the white meat, you're looking at chicken, turkey, cod as well as in fish, tuna, beef, whatever it is. I can now build a meal around that. A lot of the times you can get stuff that's pre-portioned now. You can get pre-portioned, like, you know what a steak is when you get it out the packet. You know, a pack of mince is, say, a kilo for 4 people, but we're not going to worry about, okay, have we got exactly a quarter of that versus maybe you might have, say, a kilo pack of mince, have we got exactly 250 grams, or have they got 220 and someone else has got the extra 30? You don't necessarily need to go to that granular level of detail. You can just, like you say, have the 2 meals in the breakfast and lunch that you have every single day that are the same. Don't have to worry about them. Just focus on that evening meal. Yeah, but we're probably going to sort of touch on things that we've just spoke about there. But for example, I always think it's good for an example, just for someone that is listening to this, probably is that person. But for someone that's training 3 to 4 times a week, they work long days, they've got family to sort of, you know, to deal with. What do you think are the biggest nutrition priorities to focus on there? Staying hydrated. Yeah. 'Cause that's when a lot of people underhydrate. Getting enough, going back to what I said earlier, enough variety in throughout the week. Doesn't have to be, you don't have to cook completely different foods every day, but just some variety across the week. And just generally having enough food in the day. Because too many people will come in. Like, we've got a girl at the minute who's like recreational level lifter. She's good at what she does. She has a corporate job. We doubled her food because she simply wasn't eating enough. Yeah. And she's lost weight, but she's also got better sleep. She's like feel better for training, and she's got more energy throughout the day. So if you're looking at it, like, stay hydrated, eat enough food across the day. Don't do like the very Western diet is like small breakfast, medium lunch, massive dinner. Try and like have roughly equal meals in the day. So breakfast should be a good sized meal, even though you think, okay, breakfast is going to lead to lunch, lunch leads to dinner, dinner then leads to this fasted period overnight. If you do it, you're essentially having small, medium, large. Whereas you can go, okay, let's do medium, 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 and you've got more consistent energy throughout the day. You then can avoid that 3 p.m. dip that everyone seems to have when they go and then reach for the coffee pot. That's another one. Not having too much coffee after, like, not having any caffeine after 2-3 p.m. because that then impacts on sleep, which then impacts on appetite and hunger the following day, and you just end up in a cycle. Yeah. So do you have like anyone works in the NHS? Because I think this is like... Yeah, the shift patterns of everything. Yeah, it blows my mind. Goes, literally just fucks everything we've just mentioned, basically. Yeah. So if we've got a nurse that they're going to have but potentially have probably a breakfast, early doors, they're on a long day, that if they can't get a lunch that's going to be sort of medium, how would you navigate their nutrition? So really nutrient dense, rather than having like you can most foods you can say they're either calorie dense or voluminous. So if you look at like potatoes versus rice, 100 grams of jasmine rice is about 80 grams of carbs. 100 grams of potatoes about 20-25 grams of carbs. So I wouldn't give them potatoes. I'd give them something where they're going to have a smaller portion. So if they have got a chance to eat like a burrito, something like that. Yeah. You've got carbohydrates in the wrap, you've got carbohydrates from the rice in there, you've got your micronutrients from the whatever veg you throw in there. You can throw fruit into a burrito as well, there's no rules against it. Oh, you can actually... I had a burrito that had like mango in it. Mm-hmm. It was absolutely insane. Mango and pineapple contain compounds which help break down proteins. So this is like where you can like hide stuff in stuff. So if you're having that meal and you want to have, if you're having like post-training, have pineapple with it. You can have an extra carbohydrate bump from the fructose, and the enzymes help break down the protein. Yeah, you can do going back, you can have a lunch burrito, so wrap, rice, guacamole for your fats, loads of like, you can have peppers, there's nothing wrong saying you can have salad in there, you can have all this fruit and veg, then you can have like chicken, beef, you can do fish burritos, just don't heat it up in the microwave because people might complain. You can do something like that, which can be a really small portion, but it could be packed with nutrients, and if say they've only got 30 minutes to eat, you don't want something that go, okay, I've got to go to the lunchroom, I've got to spend 5 minutes heating this meal up, I've then got to construct it all, I've then got to eat it all. By that point, I've got 10 minutes left to actually chill out on my break, versus here's a burrito, you can either chuck it in the microwave and heat it up, or you can eat it cold, and then you've got the time to then have a rest, and then have some, if you're having long times without fluids as well, have water, make sure you've got some electrolytes in it, so you're trying to top up those electrolytes as well throughout the day, especially like nurses, because some of them are on 12-hour shifts, and they'll literally have a break at hour 11, because they've been that busy with whatever department they're in.
Yeah. But that is something that you can't control that, can you? That's a job where it's like, it's out of your control, but there's still things that you can do to sort of rein it back from literally
chaos,
ruining that day, sort of thing. So you might have fasted halfway through the day, but like you know that you've got that calorie dense meal at some point within that shift.
Yeah. And obviously this is very dependent on like departments within like the NHS or whatever, or fire service or the ambulance service, whatever it might be. Sometimes the nurses are able to have like a snack. They'll have a snack drawer at the nurses station. Obviously, very much dependent on the department and what they're allowed and what's going on there.
Yeah.
But if you've got something like that, okay, brilliant. Berries, bananas, fruits, nuts and seeds, but not like excessive amounts. And you can then have something to graze on throughout the day, and then have your main meals and do that.
Yeah. So would you say there then it's probably beneficial to have a breakfast for that person?
Yeah, especially if you're having a long time. The last thing you want to do is, say it's a 8 till 8 shift, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you wake up 6, but then you don't have your lunch until, say, the first meal till 10, you're then going to feel hungrier throughout the day.
Yeah.
Because you've satisfied some hunger. You've also built, it's like trying to replace sleep debt. So if you're having big, long times where you fasted, you don't want that. You want to be able to go, okay, we've had something, whether it's overnight oats, whether it's like homemade flapjack bars with like protein powder and berries, or something like you want to try and have a meal in the morning, especially female clients as well.
Yeah. So what would you avoid being that person? Like, what's the breakfast to not sort of like, obviously cereals? What the fuck? Like, you're not going to have your cornflakes, but like you mentioned breakfast to have there. Which ones would you say like wouldn't be better for that situation?
Anything that's like really highly processed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want, again, nutrient density. So nutrient density, especially if you're potentially going to be, and you want slow release carbohydrates, I'd go for that. Especially if you're looking at potentially going like several hours without eating. And if you're going, okay, it's 8 till 8, my lunch is at 12, but then something happens, your lunch gets pushed to 4, you want something that's slowly releasing carbohydrates into your system.
Yeah. Now, I think it sort of fits in with this question, because obviously here it's about like the organisation, isn't it? Is making sure that you know that you're going to be working 8 till 8. You've got your breakfast ready the night before, so you can have that. You've potentially even done your lunch that night before, so that burrito is ready for the day. You've probably had people that have gone, I've not got the time for this. I have not got the time to eat well. What do you say to that person? Or how do you get them to sort of like break that down?
I actually asked them to do a time audit.
Yeah.
So we'll look at what time they've got, because sometimes you can feel like you're constantly on the go, but when you look at it, you might have like hours throughout the week where you have time free. Obviously, not everyone will, especially if you're doing like Monday to Friday, 8 till 8. You've only really got Saturday and Sunday. You're going to want to rest. You're going to want to relax. You're going to want to socialise. Slow cookers. You don't even have to be around. You can literally chuck a load of some proteins. You can chuck some veg into it. You can chuck a carbohydrate source into it. And you can just leave it while you go out for the day. You come back at the end of the day, you've got 5 meals prepped, or even more, depending on what you put in it. You've put it in 10 minutes to chuck it all in the morning. You've gone to work for the day. You've come home to fresh food. You can portion it out, so you've got them food for the following days. You gave a good example earlier. You cook, you do an extra portion of dinner, so then that makes lunch the next day.
Yeah.
So if you're getting home after that shift, you're gonna make dinner, or you're making dinner. You can then go, right, I'm just gonna make an extra portion. That's my lunch for the next day, and then you keep that rolling throughout the week, and you get a little bit of change in there. You can always, like, if you've got the time on a Sunday, an hour, you can bulk prep most of the food for a week in about an hour.
Yeah.
So that's another option. There's bits in there, it's just which one fits in with a lifestyle. So if someone's gets up on a Sunday morning, it's like, right, I've got an hour free, I'm going to chuck a load of rice in a pan, I'm going to chuck a load of pasta in a pan, I've got some wraps in the cupboard, I'm going to chuck a tray full of chicken in the oven, I'm going to cook up a big packet of beef mince while everything else is going, and do it that way. You've then also got a load of meals that are nutrient dense for you throughout the week, and it's in a really short time period.
Yeah. I don't like meal prepping, like it's not really the thing. Only because I can, like sod's law, whatever I prep, I then absolutely despise it the day after. I'm like, why have I done that? But like sometimes you've got to go like, but what's the alternative to that? So for example, like Monday, I work from home on a Monday. Like it's the day that I do all my check-ins for my clients and programs. So it's my sort of like the day that I can get shit done.
Yeah.
But it's the day where I can sort of make time mid-afternoon. Mm-hmm. Tuesday and Wednesday are absolutely horrendous. Like I start work at 5:30. I then come back midday before I then shoot out to go and work till like 9 o'clock. If I am not prepped on Monday, I can wholeheartedly say I'm going to be eating like shit until Thursday because I've just got no time. So when I cook my evening meal on Monday night for Monday night, I then need to make sure that my Monday night meal is my Tuesday lunch because I'm also then going to cook another batch, and it's normally something like a chili, like a 5-bean chili, whether it's like a Thai red curry or something where you can make a big batch of it. And that will be then my Tuesday evening meal because I'm out the house for my Tuesday evening meal. But then it's also my Wednesday lunch. Mm-hmm. And then I try and claw back a little bit of time on Wednesday. So sometimes, I only know that I need to do that because I don't wait until that day for my nutrition. Yeah. I look at it the week before. So Sunday is the day where I go like, okay, I am ran off my feet Tuesday, Wednesday. Like I need to do something on the Monday. And I think sometimes people just need to plan the week before it's here.
Yeah, there's you ever heard the 7 P's of preparation?
No.
Proper prior planning prevents pretty poor performance.
Well, I can't say that 5 times.
I know. So it's like if you've got. So I do the same on a Sunday morning. When I have breakfast on a Sunday morning, I will sit and I will plan my entire week up until the following Sunday morning. I'm like, right, I know I've got these calls at these times. I've got these bits at these times. I've got this time allocated to do client check-ins. I've got this time to go and train. I'll even put in like, right, I need to go food shopping, so I'm going to go food shopping on this day at this time. So it's normally like Friday morning, I go food shopping. That's me then prepped, and I've got everything I need then for the weekend and the following week. So it's just having time. You don't have to go and buy the latest whatever the new in planner is. Note on your phone or the calendar on your phone, and just put like. So I put stuff in and repeat it. So I've got like, okay, every day I have the same block. It's like breakfast, then I have work, lunch, this task, these meet, and that's how I look. I look at my phone. My phone actually tells me, oh, it's lunchtime. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go and eat.
Yeah. See, I'm really odd. Like I'm the opposite to you. Like I don't have anything on my phone. Like my phone calendar will tell me that I'm not working today. But this year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to like an old school diary. I went in Stourbridge. There's a WH Smith's clearance store. It's the best thing ever. But it's the worst thing is I'm buying paper diaries left, right, and centre because they're so cheap. And I'm like, it's £1, but it's a leather cover. But there's something for me where like I can write down my tasks, for example, or whatever my meals are going to be. I have so much joy ticking it off. And like feeling the paper. And I think it's whatever works for you, isn't it really?
I mean, I still have a paper planner.
Man.
And it's like, I go through them and I always divide mine up the same way. So I get their A5, I put a line in the middle, and I put one vertical line. It's like, right, this is like, and basically the 3 boxes are like the bottom bit's all for notes. The left-hand side is the stuff I have to get done. The right-hand stuff is the stuff I can do today or do tomorrow. And then the next day it just gets moved over. Yeah. I do that every morning. Like, well, I sit down, have coffee, do those 2 lines, and I'm like, right, have a look at the day before, this is what I need to do. And it's little things like that. It takes me 5 minutes in the morning. But then it's like, okay, now I've got what I need to do. And then my calendar's pinging up going, you've got this in 5 minutes, or you've got this in 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay, wicked, now I can work off the paperwork into what else I'm doing. Yeah.
But it's before we actually jumped onto this podcast, annoyingly, we didn't press record when we were talking about it, but
no.
We were actually mentioning, weren't we, how like, it is that simple. Like, these are the simplest things that we just overlook.
Occam's razor, what's the simplest thing you can do to have the biggest positive effect?
Yeah. And like for me, it's writing down my to-do list or the things that I do. Very similar to you in the morning, drinking my coffee. There's something about flicking over, looking at all the ticked boxes and what how can I sort of structure today, or what does today look like? And then just going by what this says rather than trying to think on my feet and failing. Yeah, it is just the simplicity, isn't it?
It's easy as well. Like I'm showing my age here. I remember when you used to have you had your draft notebook and you had your good notebook at school and you'd do like all your draft work, then you sit there and write it up into your good one. And that's the thing I do now. Like if I've got stuff that I always say, I'm a bit weird, I only write on the right side of a page. So when you open a book up, I only write on the right side. Yeah. So the left side's all just random notes and stuff. So when you're looking through them, or what I'll do sometimes, if I haven't used that left page, I'll flip it upside down and go backwards through it. Like having the draft space to be, like things don't have to be perfect when you do them, is what I'm trying to say. You can have rough bits in there, but it's like what the outcome is. Yeah. Like whether it's recreational lifter, top level lifter, you're always polishing the diamond. Whether it's whatever level you're at, you're like, okay, what are we polishing this raw diamond down into what people see? Yeah. Polishing the diamond rather than looking for the next diamond. Yeah, because that's like one thing we talk about this. Like when we look at the pyramid, consistency again, that bottom layer. Yeah. Do a plan for 2 weeks. When you start it, do it for 2 weeks. If your goal is to lose weight and your weight stays the same, wicked. You now have a baseline of consistency of 2 weeks of this much intake gives this result. Drop the food a little bit. Okay, now you start to see weight trending down. Brilliant. Don't see it trending down and start every week dropping the food more and more, because you're just to create a point where you've not got the intake to support social events, training, general life. When you start to see it flatten off, then make the change. So you won't look at a graph that looks like that. You look at a graph that actually kind of looks like that. It's like steps. Yeah. So one of the things that I've taken away from this so far is that whether you're an everyday lifter, you're working long days in the NHS, police, etc., or that you've got, your kids that you're trying to sort of feed at the same time, we need to look at like calorie dense meals. Yeah, calorie dense. Yeah. The only downside to calorie density is you can feel really full really quickly. So it's one of those. Yeah. So it's one of those. Okay, what's the goal? Is the goal to gain weight, gain muscle mass? Brilliant, calorie density. If the goal is to lose weight, there'll be a point where you'll be able to get away with density. Then there's a point where you want to switch to volume. So you might want to switch from rice to potato. But get some whole nutrient dense foods, lots of different colours of fruit and veg, variety across the week, and the food you enjoy, and season the life out of it. The British are known worldwide for not seasoning food. You seasoning, you can completely change a meal. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to get you thinking on your feet here then. So what's your top, should we go top three calorie dense meals for people that want to, what's your top three calorie dense meals? The burrito we talked about earlier. Yeah. Wrap, rice, protein sauce, guacamole. You can even put nuts in it if you want to put like some nuts and seeds in it. That'd be one. Crispy onions. Oh man. Crispy red onions. God. Burrito, like lasagna. Yeah. Like a lasagna. Because you'll get the bechamel, like the white sauce, the bechamel sauce, you can substitute that out for like tomato puree, or sometimes you don't even need it in there at all if you want to be more mindful of calories. Yeah. And then, trying to think of something breakfasty. You can do the burrito as a breakfast burrito. Oh, why have I had a mind blank? Buckwheat. It's a bit of a weird one, but buckwheat's quite quite dense in carbs. What happened then? I don't know. Literally, I looked at you and you just looked confused. I was like, "Are we okay?" And then he said, "Reconnecting." I was like, "Oh, that's what's happened." So you're on about the bechamel sauce? Yeah. So you can swap the bechamel sauce out for just like tomato puree, and then. But that white sauce is the best, though, isn't it? Oh. It's made from a roux. It's made from. Yeah, it's so easy to make, isn't it? Obviously, it's not the most sort of calorie satisfying thing, but something about that with melted cheese on there. What's it? I'm probably get some stick for this. Sainsbury's do a four cheese grated cheese mix. Man. Cheddar, red Leicester, mozzarella, and something else in there, like lasagnas and stuff like that. So what's your third meal then? Buckwheat. Buckwheat's a bit of an odd one, but buckwheat's quite dense in carbohydrates. So buckwheat salmon for like a nice oily omega-rich fat protein sauce, and then some mixed veg with it. So 10-stem broccoli, asparagus, spinach, stuff like that. So your calorie dense meals are for the goal of like calorie maintenance? Yeah, maintenance or surplus. Yeah, okay.
And then if we've got people watching this that are looking to drop calories, what's your top 3 calorie voluminous meals?
Potatoes, number 1, as a carb source.
Yeah.
Because you can get a lot of potatoes for not many carbs.
Yeah.
Protein-wise, you wouldn't really eat the proteins. You'd probably want to keep them the same.
Yeah.
I'd maybe just like swap things like bagels out. I'm trying to think. We've got one person at the minute. She's a university lecturer. She has like a chicken bagel at lunch, just 'cause it's easy for her to take with her. But we'd maybe swap that out for like a lower calorie wrap, because you can get like the light wraps. Swap that out for one of those. You can do quinoa porridge. Not the same as oats, but quinoa porridge, and you also get the protein in there from that. They'd probably be some of the swaps we'd look at doing, or like sourdough bread, depending on portions. So portion size is the big thing. Like, you can get the more food you can get for the lower amount of like carbohydrates, for example. That's what you want to be looking at.
Yeah. So there's a TikTok trend at the moment, isn't there? They call it a burger, but the low-calorie burger, and it's 2 lettuce leaves instead of bread.
Well, that's been around for decades. That's not new.
Well, it's on TikTok now. It's coming around like it's brand new. But for me, I'm just like, you're destroying the idea of a burger. Like, if you want a burger, just go and eat a burger. You can just manipulate your calories another time of day.
Yeah. Or like average it for the week. So if the burger's going to put you over by like 400 to 800, say it's going to put you over by 800 calories. Rather than dropping 800 calories out the next day, drop 800 calories out over the next 7 days. Because you're looking at average.
Zero difference, doesn't it?
Yeah. When you're looking at if you're looking at weight, look at weight over an average as much as a single day. Because a single day it can vary by like sleep, meal timing, what you ate. Look at it over an average over a week. And if you're looking at like a bigger meal, you're better off to like spread that 800 calories over 7 days and drop about 100 and something calories out a day than just drop 800 calories out the next day, feel hungry, be miserable, and then do that. But have you ever seen this thing, eat your burgers upside down?
No. Why?
It doesn't fall apart.
Does it fall apart anyway?
When you see a burger, a normal burger, like the bottom bit goes really soft and starts to crumble. So
yes,
you flip it upside down.
That. When you actually eat it, the bread sort of slides, doesn't it? Yeah.
Flip it, try it upside down, doesn't do it as much.
No way. I don't know how I feel about eating it upside down.
I saw someone doing it years ago, and I was like, I realised it was like holding together better. I was like, well, try this.
I hope you were out at a meal
I
when
was.
you saw this happening.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So, one thing that you'll probably talk about between your sort of more elite level athletes is about nutrient timing. Now, for those that don't know about nutrient timing, do you want to just explain what that is?
So nutrient timing is putting certain types of foods and certain foods at certain places during the day. So whether it's a faster or slower acting carbohydrate, whether it's a fat source, whether it's something we're looking to optimise. So you can there's another thing that kind of runs alongside it called complementary nutrition, where you have like 2 different foods that help each other get absorbed better.
Okay. And would you still look at that for everyday lifters, or does it not necessarily matter as much?
Certain parts of it would matter, but we're looking more like what we're having pre, during and post training for that element of it. But the rest of it, as long as, I think I said this earlier, if you're having like roughly equal portions throughout the day, then you're going to probably hit 80% of what you need to do with that.
Okay. Now, you just mentioned about like eating around training there. So that's the nutrient timing that you sort of focus on.
But yeah.
Yeah. Now, what does that look like for an everyday lifter? Like when should they eat before training? So
we're going to make an assumption that someone's training at 6 p.m. So Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, finish work, train. So 6 p.m, about 4 hours before you want to have like a big meal, and that would naturally be your lunch. If you've then got the drive from work to the gym, you want to have something that's be a carbohydrate base, really quick and easy to absorb. You don't want to be having potatoes because they're going to sit in your stomach. Squares bars, cereals, dates, things like Lucozade, stuff like that's what you want to have before you train. So it's to be really quickly into your system so you can use it during the session. If you're going to do anything during a session, like a carbohydrate powder or an essential amino acid, any session longer than 45 minutes, you'll see a benefit from those. Then after training, you want a really good quality protein, and you want probably a slightly bigger protein source after you've trained than you've had earlier in the day, just to help with protein synthesis. And you want to have a good quality carbohydrate source. So again, like one of my go-tos are like jasmine rice, buckwheat, wraps, those kind of things that you can then make multiple different variations of meals from out of that.
Okay. And how do you adjust your nutrition for a training day versus a non-training day? Would you look at that for someone that was like an everyday lifter?
I just you're adding a degree of complexity into it that isn't necessarily needed. So, like you can eat the same every day. It's just like when you think the way to reconsider it is you're using the rest day to essentially refuel or pre-fuel for the training day.
Yeah. So really, you just need to make sure that you're eating pretty well, consistently throughout the week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we've gone back to what we've said at the start. It's all about simplicity and just going for those easier wins, isn't it, really?
Yeah. If you want to look at like the real, like some of the nitty-gritty details, like an easy one, this is something we see with a lot of people who come in with like iron deficiencies. If you want to get better iron absorption, have it with some vitamin C. So if you look at any of the meal plans I write, you'll have a food with iron in it with a food with vitamin C. So you'll see red meat and peppers, iron from the red meat, peppers for the vitamin C. Or you'll see cherry tomatoes and spinach, different type of iron is in that, but still iron. So you'll have these in there to help with absorption. And a lot of people will actually do this without necessarily realising, like a fajita mix, onions, peppers, and then if you're doing beef, you've then hit the marker without having to go into too much complexity with it.
See, again, it's just been savvy, isn't it? Like, I bet I was doing things like that without necessarily knowing. I was like,
yeah,
look at me putting my beef with peppers. But like, it is quite simple, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. It's when you break it, you can break anything complicated down to a really simple level. And I've got people who love to know the nitty-gritty science detail of why we're doing stuff. At the same time, I've got people who just go, just tell me what to eat.
Yeah, yeah. So with your everyday lifters that you train, what do you think the most common nutrition mistakes you see with them?
Underfueling, like generically underfueling.
Yeah. Being
dehydrated or underhydration. You get some people, especially in some work environments, it's harder to have access to bathrooms, especially if we go back to like emergency services. The ambulance crews could be out for hours without going back to a base sometimes. They're going to, they're naturally going to think, I don't want to drink a lot because I don't want to have to go to use a toilet somewhere in some random place. So underfueling, dehydration, and again, like we said earlier, that kind of like Western diet where it's like a small meal, a medium meal, and a big meal. Whereas if you just go, okay, medium across the day, you'll get more consistent energy.
Yeah. So if you've got someone then that is underhydrating, I think that is probably the biggest one amongst, I'd argue, most people, is how would you combat that?
The easy one is set timers. So we say to people, like, set a 45-minute timer on your phone. Like I've been sitting here sipping on like a half-litre bottle of water. If you break it down, like people will go, if I say to someone, okay, you've got 3 litres of water a day, they're going to go, oh my God, I get 3 litres in. Rephrase it. If you have a Coke can-sized portion of water over an hour, you will hit over 3 litres a day in a 12-hour day.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's little things like
go on.
It's little things like that. Break it down and like have a little reminder. So I have a reminder on my phone that pops up every 45 minutes. It goes, drink.
Yeah, So I've got clients that are like, oh, but I can't drink, at certain times throughout the day. And I'm like, okay, cool. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Give yourself a pint of water, and that's 3 pints of water without even thinking about it. So you're just making that pint of water a part of that meal.
Yeah, habit stacking.
Yeah. Bloody Atomic Habits. We all live and breathe that book, don't we?
Yeah, there's some good stuff in it.
Yeah. So then, to wrap up, okay, because that's been a pretty hefty nutrition conversation. If you had to give one piece of nutrition advice to a everyday lifter, what would it be and why?
Don't overcomplicate it. Stick to food you enjoy. Build it around that. Everything else can be accounted for. And
to finish, what does a realistic, ideal day of eating look like for someone balancing work, family and training, would you say?
Do you want like the meal constructions?
Yeah, let's go in what would you... Yeah, if you had an athlete that asked that question, what meals would you give that, or what would you say to do for that person?
Overnight oats as breakfast, which would be oats, Greek yogurt, chia seeds or flax seeds, honey, mixed berries, maybe like a little bit of peanut butter or almond butter onto it. So that's nutrient density, that's really dense. You've got lots of healthy fats from the seeds, you've got protein from the Greek yogurt, you've got slow release carbohydrate from the oats. The honey has a pretty cool, like when we talk about the complementary stuff, the honey stabilises the prebiotics in the yogurt, so you've got digestive health in there as well. You've got some more carbohydrates and micronutrients from the berries. And you've got some healthy fats from the nut butters as well. Lunch, I would go with like either a wrap with a protein source, so like we do like the burrito we mentioned earlier, or you could do down the route of like bagels, chicken, salad. Turkey bagels with almond butter and salad is a phenomenal combo, especially if you use the red onion and chive bagels. If you're going to training, like a squares bar or a couple of dates on the way to training, nice and easy to digest, not going to stress your digestion out too much. If you're having anything during the session, at least as a minimum water. Yeah. Like you've got like water, the water with electrolytes, and you've got water with like carbohydrates in it. Then after you've trained, just a good sized protein source, so slightly bigger than the other two. So you could do chili, your one, rice, beef mince, beans, chickpeas. You got some proteins, you got some micronutrients, you got some fibre from it. Dollop of sour cream on it, and then in the evening maybe like some dark chocolate.
See, really, that just sounds like a standard day of eating, doesn't it? Rather than be like, you're going to have chicken and rice, and that's going to be your lunch, and then you're going to have fish and a rice cake.
Have you seen the fish and the rice cake guy now?
Yeah, he's stacked, isn't he?
He's jacked.
I tell you, fish and a rice cake, that's all you should be selling.
It's like a lot of people will eat well. They'll just potentially be like the little bits that we can tweak in there. And like whenever we're building a plan, I'll always look at what someone likes to eat and try and build it as much as I can off of that versus giving them something completely new.
Yeah. That has been a pretty awesome podcast. Slightly longer than we said. I said before this, I was like, let's keep this between 30 and 40 minutes. But then, to be fair, halfway through, I was so engrossed in this, and I was like, fuck, I love this. Like, this is helping me out more than probably anyone. But anyways, that's what I do the podcast for, just to help me out. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of sort of takeaways from that you can like action straight away. But shall we tell them what's in the sort of pipeline? Do you reckon we're ready to sort of tell them about that?
Yeah, go on then.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're looking at sort of putting together something within the school community that I talk about most episodes, where we've spoke about the general crux of nutrition, but now we want to sort of, how does that look and how can we create that to be specific to you? Would you say so?
Yeah, something that, so like the way I like to think of it is narrowing a funnel. So like you've got the load, we're basically going to allow people to go through a funnel to come out with the end with like common knowledge and information on how to structure everything. Yeah,
so we're looking at how many calories should you be eating for your specific goal? What does that look like for your proteins, carbs and fats? And then, then putting together your meals so you've actually got a nutrition plan that you can sort of follow. Yeah, and that will be in the school community, but I will add a little link below. But thank you very much, Tom, for coming on to the podcast. Like, I've really enjoyed that. I think a lot of people take a lot away from that. If you haven't already, make sure to click like and subscribe so we can keep on bringing these podcast episodes to you. And I shall see you in the next one. Ciao!
Thank you very much for having me.